Hey, good morning. Today is another one of our first fives. So today we're looking at this passage from John chapter 7. And it's an interesting passage because, as so many of the passages that include words from Jesus, we kind of have to understand what's going on and where Jesus is trying to get us to see differently than we've seen before. You see, for many of us, when it comes to much of what we see in the world, we have expectations about the way things happen. Right? Here's what I mean. We have expectations about the way things happen spiritually. We expect God to act in certain ways. We expect certain things to happen among his people. In fact, we have certain traditions we expect to see in the church. But sometimes what Jesus wants to say to us is our expectations aren't his goal. Sometimes what we think we need is not what his desire for us is. And so here's what we see. In the middle of this festival of tabernacles or the festival of booths, Jesus is kind of not sneaking, but he's not really wanting to draw attention to himself. He's wanting to just be present and be a part of what's going on because he knows people have already started to try to want to kill him. And so here's where we pick up the story. They found him in the crowd, and so here we see John chapter 7, verse 14. About the middle of the festival, Jesus went up into the temple and began to teach. The Jews were astonished at it, saying, "How does this man have such learning when he's never been taught?" Then Jesus answered them, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. Anyone who resolves to do the will of God will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I am speaking on my own. Those who speak on their own seek their own glory, but the one who seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and there is nothing false in him. Did not Moses give you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why are you looking for an opportunity to kill me?" The crowd answered him, "You have a demon who's trying to kill you." Another translation says, "You're just demon possessed." Jesus answered them, "I performed one work and all of you are astonished. Moses gave you circumcision. It is, of course, not from Moses, but from the patriarchs. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If a man received circumcision on the Sabbath in order that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because I healed a man's whole body on the Sabbath? Do not judge by appearances, but judge with the right judgment, or judge with the right heart and mind." And so I was thinking about, how do I apply this to some of the things that we might find in our world, or in our lives, or in the life of the church? And so I know many of you who follow these are part of a church. And so a couple of stories that might be helpful for us as we think back. So I've heard stories about how people have showed up to a various church to attend a Sunday morning worship gathering, and they've walked in and they've been wearing a hat. Now, I grew up in a home where that was never going to be okay. My parents would make a big deal about it, and I just wouldn't have done it. But a lot of people didn't grow up that way. And I've heard stories about people walking into places of worship because for them, it's just another place I'm going. They don't yet have any semblance of what the rules may be. And so people will say, "Hey, you take that hat off." Well, if our first introduction to someone in the life of the church is to say, "Get your hat off," I'm pretty sure I don't want to be a part of that people. Or maybe someone comes in, and I heard the story from a teenager just last year, and here I'm meeting and talking, and he's talking about his faith and wrestling with whether he wanted to believe in Jesus or not. And he shared the first time he went to church. First time was he was visiting a church in Florida. So it wasn't even this area, but he was visiting this church in Florida, and he showed up and had wearing basketball shorts and a t-shirt because he didn't really know any different. And he went with his friend and his friend's parents, and they said, "Just come on, guys, you're fine as you are." Except they weren't. They walked in, and it was one of those churches where everybody wears suits and ties and ladies wear dresses, and they were all dressed up. And he said, "I got dirty looks the whole time I was there and couldn't get out of there fast enough." You see, again, those are rules that people have made. Now, they're not written down on paper. A lot of the rules that we follow, we don't write down. No one's written the rules that you can't wear a hat indoors, or you can't not wear a suit and tie, or whatever the rule may be. But here's the problem for that. When we judge in those ways, we miss the opportunity for God to be at work in someone else's heart. And the other side of it is what Jesus is getting at here, is we forget to recognize whether our own hearts are right or not. And so here's my challenge for you and I today. We can rest in the love of God and the presence of Jesus through his Spirit, and we can begin to see the world with his eyes, so that when those moments come when we think they're just acting odd, or they're just different, or maybe we'll have the right heart. And instead of being the guy who says to the guy, "Take your hat off," we become the person who says, "Hey, do you want to sit by me?" And instead of being the person who, because we're wearing nice clothes and we see someone walk in wearing not nice clothes, maybe we're the first person to take off our tie and take off our jacket and roll up our sleeves so that we can make them feel as welcome as we can. See, that's the heart of Jesus. That's the invitation for us. And so today, may you and I be the reflection of Jesus in this world. May we not be the reflection of the Jews here who found themselves wrapped up in laws and rules. May we be the ones who celebrate that someone has been healed, they have been changed, and that is the key for us to be followers of Jesus. So may you have a great day. We'll catch you next time.